Well, the first thing we'd like you to do is state your name and where you're from.
I am Danny Peter Staveris. I live in Tracy. However, I am a member of the Oakland Ascension Cathedral.
Great. And what do you do here as far as being a dance instructor? Tell us about that.
Well, I teach the kids, how to praise God's name through dance. I teach them region. I teach them about, the ethnic backgrounds, what they're doing, what it means, stuff like that. Try to bring in some of the best music into them, or the best dance instructors. That if I don't know it, I can at least lean upon them to teach it to me, because it takes 9 lives to learn all of Greek dancing. It's an endless thing. There's so many villages and material out there.
So you actually bring instructors into the parish here?
Yes, I do. Or I'll go to Greece and research it myself. And a lot of us directors do that. We take our time. We specifically pick a point where we want to go, and we end up heading to our voyage on to Greece, whatever it may be. So,
where is your family from in Greece?
My mother and father came from the island of Kefi, and it is in the Ionian Island range. They grew up 8 miles apart from each other, didn't know each other until basically, well, my dad knew my mother's mother, my grandmother. However, they didn't really connect until they came to Lodi, California.
And why did they come here?
Well, my uncle had invited my father to come over to get his life going, and that was from the Staveris side of the family. And then my dad knew my Uncle Pete, which is my mom's brother. He was here as well. And so when my Uncle Pete said, hey, I got a sister, and then there you go.
So did he go back to Greece?
No, she came here. They brought her here because they had a person here already. So I guess with an American passport, you could do it back then like that. I guess to this day you could do that.
Yeah. Is your wife also Greek?
My wife is Cherokee Indian and Yugoslavian, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, what a mixture. I get a tomahawk thrown at me once in a while. When I'm late at dance practice. Yeah, she's been a big support for me. If it wasn't for her, I couldn't be doing all this.
So she understands the crazy Greek dance part of your life?
She understands me. She doesn't understand why I'm still doing it. And she doesn't understand the passion I have for it, I believe. I have a big passion for it. It's something I cannot let go. I've tried to, and it won't leave. It actually is like almost a second heartbeat for me that I really enjoy. It takes my mind out of stress, puts me into another world where I'm just dancing to either island musicians or to Macedonian brass bands, to accordions, to whatever it may be. But she's not Greek. But her last time she did an FDF was 1999, and she said that was probably the last time she'll go. Because of her own, because I was always scattering, running around, dancing in the middle of the hallways at 3:30 in the morning, whatever it may be. So it's like a Greek party, and you don't want to take away from that Greek party. You want to be a part of it as much as you can. So.
Right. So she supports you.
Oh, she supports it, and I'm very grateful for her being able to take care of our kids and let me go do my thing.
Do your kids dance?
No, my kids, when they were babies, my daughter, she would dance. She would fall asleep to Carpathian and Dodekanis island music when I was studying at the time with my Kubata, which is my teacher for that area. My son, for some reason, loved the Pontic Lita. And so when I was studying the Pontic from my other group at the time, I'd throw him on my shoulder, and he would I'll dance teak, and he would just fall asleep on my shoulder. So.
But isn't that a really vigorous?
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no. You tell me about Pontic dance.
It's vigorous. Sometimes I say, "Is it really Greek?" No, I don't mean nothing about it. The Pontic people are going to come throwing knives at me. It's very. Some of it's vigorous. Some of it's just. It has everything. Every part of Pontic's a little bit different. It's not all the same. There's different villages that do different little things in their dancing. There's other villages that are more shaky and more uppity off their feet, but it's mostly in the knees that they're doing it in. So it's just a matter of figuring out where you're going to be from what village you're going to do, basically.
On that vein, you do some dance that I don't know how to characterize it, but you're sort of known for doing some really interesting.
The chestos. Is that the one with the line dance, like the river dance? That stuff was brought to me by a good friend named Dean Avdalas. he got me on the right start on that. He's out of San Francisco. He got me into that with a group I used to have named Animos. And, you know, we really took on the chestos and took it. And then he taught me the basics, and then I took it and ran with it. And then up to these last 2 years, Dean has been going back to that village, Nea Monastiri, and bringing back more interesting stuff of the chestos. The chestos to me was, you know, was one of those things that people at churches would call me to come and teach them. And I was very happy to teach it to them. You know, it's just, the more you go on in life, the more research you pull, you find out that there really wasn't, the chestos really wasn't a dance that was done all the same, by every dancer doing the same move. Even though at the time when I was doing it that way, from 03, 04, and so forth, it was more of a freestyle dance. A lot of Greek dancing is more freestyle than what we used to know back in the day. And mostly that area where chestos comes from, Nea Monastiri, Megalo Monastiri, those areas are Thracian refugees that came down out of the left side of the Black Sea area back in the early 1900s. So they brought it down, but you know, there's different teachers in Greece that will take it and sometimes make it more for a presentation for a crowd of people. Like if there's visitors, if there's, you know, if you're in the middle of a platea celebrating and you bring out a group of dancers, usually the authentic stuff, depending on how it's done, won't enthuse crowds. But when you start mixing things up and throwing a little Broadway into it, then it starts getting, oh, yay, 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 you know. But really at that point, you've just basically desecrated a dance to make it more fan-friendly, I guess I would say. You know, the thing about festivals, and we do them here in Oakland, and I've done quite a few of them. You gotta, if you're gonna do authentic, add some Broadway to it. Don't add to the dance, but maybe get your funner dances authentic, like Levendico compared to a Stavio, something slow. Levendico's up and going. A Gaida from Northern Macedonia compared to Statria. You know, those two dancers work, usually they go in different paces, but they're usually slower than the average. And if you don't have an outstanding leader to do things, the rest of the group is just walking in a straight line, you know, in a circle doing the same thing. And those can be crowd borers, you know, you make them go to sleep. Me, when it comes to festival, I like bringing it on. You know, let's bring it on, baby. I want people to go crazy. I bring tables, have people do cartwheels or flips off the top of people's shoulders. Oh yeah. It's a complete Taverna thing.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, those are fun stuff.
Yeah.
But like this past year as an example, I brought my older group together. We had split up for a little while, and I brought them together, and I said, let's do a festival show. So I started off with something authentic. I took a little bit of Malavijotiko from Crete, threw in a Pontic Lechi Lechina, you know, threw in a Tsamiko, a Rebetiko Tsamiko, went into Gaida from Northern Macedonia, shot into Levendikos, did a Zembekiko, did a little Singatistos, and then I ended up with the Chestos. And the crowd was going crazy. And I brought little kids up to do this knee dance, the Pusnitsa. The Pusnitsa is an authentic dance. It's very authentic, but it's...
Never heard of that one.
Pusnitsa is from Northern Macedonia, like the Promachi, Aridea area, where the men would do, it's almost like a Zembekiko and a 4-count. And what they would do is they would add little tricks. The old timers didn't do the knee drops more. There's little to no video of old timers doing it, but you would get the younger crowds doing it. The little that we do know that these guys would fall on their knees, there's maybe 3 or 4 videos of it, and that's where I've picked it up as well. But you could do a lot to it, and you can start it from slow, and you can break it into a fast setup where it's a big crowd pleaser. It just hurts the kids' knees after. If you're falling on slab, you got to wear knee pads, of course, right here, and you try to teach them the proper way of falling, because there's a right way and a wrong way of falling on your knees on slab when you're doing that dance. And, you know, you try to make sure the kid understands that.
Yeah, that's good.
So there's no medical bills coming later.
Yeah, you didn't dance with FDF when you were very young, or did you?
My first FDF was FDF 3. Out of all of them, I've missed 3 of them.
The question again was about learning to dance from videos online and the golden rule.
The golden rule of videos online, when all else fails, you need to go to the villager himself. Some of the stuff online, yes, it's good. Don't get me wrong. but a lot of it is garbage. I mean, you could see mid-aged people dancing, and you would think that it's all true and all right, but I would say at least 60 to 70%, it's not. I've researched online many times, and I have not found that what I would think would be truly authentic. The golden rule in Greek dancing, and I learned this over my years of losing at FDF. Hey, you got to lose to win, you know? After the losses, I learned what was real, what was not. Number one, stay away from performing groups. Performing groups of Greece, and I don't want knives thrown at me on this one, but some of them are good and some of them are really bad. Truly, really bad. I know some great instructors in Greece. I would look at their sets anytime, but some of the groups that I've seen on ERT, on Antenna, were pretty garbage, you know, and nothing, no offense, they're just trying to do something for TV type thing. Again, going back, authenticness sometimes can be a little bit slow for people to understand and to really enjoy. In my opinion, when all else fails, you go to the villager. You've chosen a village. If you've chosen Vlachika, look at the Grevana, Macedonian Vlachika. If you choose in Epirus, go to Metsovo, look at the Metsovian stuff. You choose Karpathos, 3 different areas of Karpathos you want to look at. Olympos, Mesochori, and then the Katochoria. There's different ways of looking at all that stuff. Macedonia is spread out in so much stuff that, you know, you got to go directly to the source, you know, and very important, and mostly for if they're doing FDF. And even just if you're learning it, you want to learn it right the first time instead of having to go back and recreate what you just learned. That happened to me a couple times where I had to basically stop, scratch that, and go back to the roots and bring it forward to what it was supposed to be. Well, specifically, I have a few mentors. I have my Kubato, Vasilis Kontos, for my island, which I truly thank him and his family for all the island knowledge they have given me of the Dodikanisa, where I've studied that part. I like to thank Yannis Konstantinos, Joe Graciosi, for more of the central area of Greece, like Macedonia and stuff like that, the Epirotica. Of course, Anne and Renee have also been a big influence in my life and given me earfuls of stuff. Dean Avdalas.
Could you say their last names for us, Anne and Renee?
Anne Sirota and Renee Cleary. I've known them since day one of FDF. I mean, I used to be afraid of both of them, and then I became friends with them. They're gonna hurt me. It's all good. Now we're all close friends and everything. But you know, there's George Nichols, mentor type thing. Dean Avdalas got me in the Chestos runnings and stuff. Phenomenal singer, phenomenal dancer.
Who is Dean Avdalas?
Dean Avdalas. Wow, what a name right there. This guy, you know, we grew up in the same teachings and stuff, but we really didn't get into knowing each other. I mean, we were kids at the Greek theater in San Francisco when our parents would be watching these old Ivo Kalaiki movies, and we would be sitting there throwing airplanes at the screen together. Dean Avdalas is a very phenomenal dance director. He has a lot of knowledge. He's also a judge here and there, but he's gone back to going back on stage, and he's just something else. He'll tell you if you're doing it right or wrong. If he doesn't know it, he'll go find out like a lot of us do and let you know then if you're doing it right or wrong. But Dean has a mouth of really, he's ticked off a few people, but I love him dearly because he's basically straight to the point. This is what it is, this is what it does, and this is where it came from type thing. The other thing I want to add to the question prior to my mentors, in my Pontic things, my Pontic learnings, Nick Savidis, he now lives in Kavala, Greece, as was just told. Again, Joe helped me out with a lot of the Pontic. And a gentleman named Nikos Zounatsidis. That guy, to me, is like the king of Pontic. He lives in Greece, but he is something else, because it's what he grew up with. He knows all of Pontian stuff. That guy is amazing. And there's a group down in Downey that just won Division I sweepstakes this past year in 2014 that used him a lot, and it was really impressive for what they did and how he helped fix that group up, because the parents and the coordinator of Downey is amazing as well, the whole dance program.
So did they send a director to Greece?
They were bringing him over here, and that's how I got to meet him too. I went down there a couple years for a workshop, and he was up here. Our rooms were like next door to each other at the hotel, and So I took full advantage of just BSing with the man, you know, and hearing him, letting him check out my step, what I was learning from his cubado, which was Nico Savides, and, you know, correcting little things, or Nico would correct me, and it's a Pontic thing with that, you know. One corrects the other, you know. One says this, the other one says that. That's the thing about Pontic. There's more roadblocks in Pontic than anything I've ever seen in my life in Greek dancing.
Really?
Because there's always someone saying different.
Oh.
Yeah, there's always, oh, that guy says from that village, no, it goes this way. That guy over there in that village says, no, it goes this way. But what they're trying to tell you is, in that village, they might dance it differently than that village.
Oh, so they really do. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily a right and wrong.
And it's not really a right and wrong unless you're doing something really wrong with your tromakton step, or we all go through it. We all have our flaws in Pontic. I mean, it's the hardest style of dance. That thing fell again, I'm sorry.
Kind of getting back to FDF, were you involved with management group at all?
Yes, I was invited to become the Northern California director's rep from Peter Avdalas. And I took that as an honor, because Peter, to me, should have ran for the presidency of the United States. I look at him as like my general, my uncle, like a second father almost. I mean, his family was wonderful. I was involved where I would go to the meetings down south. Usually they were in Ontario. And we would go to the meetings. He would tell me what he want the director reps to do, to reach out to the other directors in the area and see what they need. Well, what is your thoughts on FDF for next year? What would you like to see type things? Do you need any material? You know, whatever you need. And I reached out to everybody and see whatever I can help. But, you know, a lot of directors usually know what they want to do. But having somebody come in and say, hey, if you need more, if you want something different at FDF, why don't you just say so right now and I'll bring it to the board. My thing about those meetings was just going down there and hanging out with such a wonderful man like Peter and his sons and his wife, and having that whole committee of board members there talking about it. In my way, I look at them as the original regime. They were the team of people. The new regime's a little bit different. But it was cool. It was really a nice feeling walking in this room. You had this man that created FDF, you know, and him and Eminence, God bless his soul, Eminence Anthony, were the two creators of this thing. But Peter put his efforts into it. And so we're going to these meetings, going back to the question, it was cool. I enjoyed it. I really was like, wow, I feel like I'm part of something here, instead of sanding floors all day, you know, or chasing deer with my bow, you know.
Take your time.
The one thing about Greek dancing that, and I believe some of my fellow directors around the United States and in Greece understand and some don't. The most important thing about Greek dancing, number one, if it's part of a church, it's the ministry of the church. That's number one. Number two, you praise God's name through dance. You don't go dance out there, because a lot of Greek dancing has a lot of Christianity stuff to it. And then the other thing for the directors, soma, body, psyche, soul, vima, step, and style are your four most important things to create a beautiful environment of Greek dancing. And what I mean by that is you got to know the music before you understand the step and the style. And you got to know what's behind that music. And, you know, that's pretty much it, basically.
Good. I haven't heard anyone say that way. That's really good.
Thank you.
And what do you, I have another question about the kids that come into dance. What do you think motivates them? Is it the competition? Is it the learning? Is it...
FDF, what a rush. That's what it is. You know, here's the thing. These kids got to come out. A lot of times the parents are pushing them in, you know. Mm-hmm. But once they start going to FDF, it's a rush. It's just the build up to FDF, and then even trying to unwind after FDF, it's still a rush. It's fun. It's like put it this way, it's our Olympics every year. And that's how I look at it. And the man to be thanked for this is Peter Avdalas. He made life for the diocese of the West Coast and other places, other churches that come to FDF, even the HDF and the East Coast. He made it to where the churches come together. We have church, we have Glendia, we have fun. You meet people, kids meet people from different areas. You got 10 minutes and 12 minutes to either do really well or get bored out of it. And then in the advanced scene, you got 13 and 15 where you got to go up there and you got to be ready for action, because everybody's coming in for that goal, basically, or that sweepstakes, whatever it may be.
How do your teams do?
My team's done well, you know, it's a give and take. I won, in 5 years, I won 4 Division II sweepstakes. That was from 03 to 07. That's when I started doing Pontic. It sort of went downhill after that. You know, I feel sorry for my one team that was a powerful team at the time, but I wanted to challenge them with something, which I didn't even know the stuff either, and I had to go out of my way to learn it. My teams do well. You know, you're already a winner if you're putting this whole thing together before you get there. The parents, the movement, the fundraising, the priest, everything that's involved, the management, most important, management team. When you go to FDF, to me, you're already a winner. But if you're not doing things right, that's a different story. But if you're doing your dances halfway, 60% right, you're already a winner to me. And even to the kids that cry when they don't win, I've cried a few times. Oh my God, I was ready to go on a hunting spree on the judges panel one night. You know, but I did. I calmed down. I said, hey, this is Greek dancing. You got to take up the grain of salt. But I've done well. I've got 36 medals hanging on my wall. I got a director's award. I got 4 sweepstakes trophies. I have 9 golds, quite a few silvers, quite a few thirds, and it just moves on. There's just medals everywhere. My wife hates that because it's right near my bed.
You're like a kid.
I am. It's like my candy. That's my candy cane store right there. You know, I got all my trophies, my medals right there, and everything.
You'll have to take a picture and send it.
I'll send it to you. I will. I would love to.
Put that on the
I
thing.
love to. And I have one spot that says vacant for my purple. That's the Division 1 sweepstakes. I've won 4 Division 2s. And I have not won a Division 1. One day maybe, you know, whatever. No big deal.
You have plenty of time.
I'm happy.
Yeah, good.
I'm happy.